Hi guys, so Spirit of the Rebellion just announced today for Star Wars Destiny. Are you playing this game yet? If not, why not? It's amazing. So let's talk about Spirit of the Rebellion. Big news, big news. This was actually teased a while back, slightly through Twitter. We knew there was a Spirit of the Rebellion expansion coming, but we didn't know any of the details other than the natural assumptions that it would be based on Rogue One. So, wow, it is totally based on Rogue One with a couple of extra stuff as well, because if Awakenings was any kind of hint, we knew that there was going to be more to any expansion than just one film, because the game kind of spans the entire universe. So what do we see? Well, we see a little spoiler with a couple of things. First, I'm going to talk about the cards that we can't fully see. So we see that Chirrut Imwe is there. All right, now one of my favorite characters, definitely one of my favorite characters from Rogue One. A lot of people's favorite. I love Donnie Yen, so I was really excited. I knew he was going to be a blue character, and I was right. So Chirrut Imwe, we see a little bit of him, and we see that he can't. You can't give him blue abilities, so he's not really using Force powers, but he could use melee weapons like a lightsaber potentially, and I'm sure he's going to come with his own melee weapon. He rolls either ranged or melee on his die, and he's got some kind of ability. It looks like maybe after activating him you can reroll all of your dice or something like that. Maybe something reroll, some kind of reroll after you activate him. So maybe if it's reroll all of your dice, then maybe you can activate him last after you've spent all your good dice and all you got left is blanks. Then you activate him and he rolls everything, kind of playing into the fact that he's blind and he's like, I don't know what you got out there, but we're re-rolling everything. Something like that. That works, and it could be slightly thematic that way as well. So really cool, but we don't really know. That's all we know about Chirrut. Next, we have another card called Supply Line. It's a die card. It gives you resources, focus, and some kind of special, but it only costs one, so we don't know much about Supply Line. Personal Shield, it just looks like another upgrade. We can see a lot of that. It's a die, has a lot of shields on it, and what seems cool about it is it says that you can exhaust it for a shield when somebody's taking damage or with a ranged attack. So it's kind of cool to see an upgrade that has both a die and that you can exhaust the card itself, because we've usually only seen one or the other, but very cool to see a card that you can exhaust that also has a die. So that's Personal Shield. Those are the cards we couldn't fully see, so they're still not fully spoiled yet. But now let's talk about what we can see that has been fully spoiled. So Jyn Erso, right, the star of Rogue One. So Jyn has two ranged die, or two ranged sides and two discard sides. So two discard sides is pretty cool, and that kind of plays into the theme of one thing they're trying to do here is they're trying to make a lot more of the cards very specific, as specific to a certain role. So if you're trying to go with a mill deck, you're going to see more cards that have just more than just one mill side to them. So, or if you're trying to go straight aggro, you're going to see more stuff with just straight damage. You know, and Jyn is a little bit like this. She's got, you know, two damage sides and two discard sides, but not a whole lot else. I mean, she's got a resource, but you're not going to get shields with her. You're not going to get disrupt with her. She's, you know, some characters like sprinkles a little bit of everything, but she's kind of specific. So she also has the ability of reducing the cost of the first yellow event you play each turn. So kind of a cool ability, you know. And she's not a legendary. She's a regular rare. So you know, 15 or 20. So she has got a lot of places she can fit in. Not the most amazing card out there, but not bad. I don't personally like to play discard. I don't like to play mill. So, you know, she doesn't really appeal to my play style, but I know a lot of people are really liking mill, and so I think she's going to see a lot of use. We also see Never Tell Me the Odds. All right, Never Tell Me the Odds. Really cool card. Han Solo, right? Costs 3. It's an event. Han Solo's talking to C-3PO there. And it says that you can choose a yellow character. You can turn all of as many of your dice as you want to sides of your choice, including character and upgrades on that character. So, amazing card. Especially, the first thing that comes to my mind is play this on Han Solo. All right, now like they tease it in the article that it has synergy with Jyn because, you know, it's an event, it's a yellow event, and she can reduce it because it is kind of expensive. It costs 3. But I think of, you know, playing Han Rey, which is one of my favorite decks to play. It's very fun. You know, putting a holdout blaster on Rey, you get 2 extra actions, and then you're like, okay, well, good. I'm gonna, you know, play Never Tell Me the Odds, turn all of Han's dice, assuming you've already rolled Han, you know, and do like 9-10 damage to you or something, or even more. Like if Han has 2 jetpacks on him and I roll him, and then my next activation I play Never Tell Me the Odds after doing a holdout blaster on Rey, I'm gonna one shot a named character. It's so very cool options here, and I'm kind of excited about that card. I want to definitely play with it. It'll be expensive and it will require very specific things to set up, or it could combo very well with the card All In, maybe. So let me in the comments section, tell me what you think about Never Tell Me the Odds. Or you think it's just overcosted? You think it's too expensive to play? So we see some other stuff. We see the Death Trooper, right? I was excited to see these guys. I wanted more of a better version of a Stormtrooper, and I figured they would also cost more. And sure enough, wow, 4 sides showing ranged damage. That's insane. They have a Disrupt also. 10 hit points, so they're tankier. They cost 10, so you can't run a whole bunch, but you could run 3 Death Troopers. 3 Death Troopers would be some serious stuff. That would be very serious. So there's that. Also, wow, Director Krennic. Director Krennic is pretty beast mode. So when you roll him, you also roll a Death Trooper die. Wow. And he's got a pretty, he's got a pretty good die. He's got 2 ranged. He's got 2 disrupt. He got 2 discard. He's got a focus. He's got a lot of different, and he's got a resource. He's got a lot of different stuff on his die, so it's not a bad die. But combine that with the Death Trooper, now you can have up to 4 damage on that. That's not bad. That's not half bad at all. And for only 15 points, or if you go with the elite version of Krennic, it's almost like a 3-die character, right? That's something else. And it's not that if you run Krennic with a Death Trooper, you can effectively getting a second Death Trooper with Krennic. So very cool. I think Krennic might be like, he looks cool, but he doesn't look that cool. I think he's going to be a sleeper hit. I think he has got the potential to just dominate the meta, depending on what else comes out. Like if he were out right now, I think he would be in every single list. So maybe I'm overstating how good he is, but I think he's amazing. All right, so we got an event here called Rebel Assault that they showed us today. Now this is kind of a cool red removal card. All right, first off, what I love about it is it costs 0, so it's free. Always a very, very good thing. And it's a little bit restricted, but it can remove a die, an opponent's die, that's not showing damage. You have to have ranged showing in order to play it, and it's a red card. So it's restricted a little bit and it's also hero. So it's restricted to basically red hero decks. But it's a nice removal ability. It can get rid of specials. It can get rid of mill. It can get rid of, or even a blank that they're going to reroll and turn into something fantastic. So not a bad card. I don't know if it's better than the other removal that's out there. It's got its drawbacks and its advantages, but it's a good card. And I think Rebel Red Hero needed a little help too. So that's pretty nice. Also, your eyes can deceive you as a support. So this one is pretty interesting. After your die rolls a shield, you can exhaust this support to turn an opponent's die to any side. Now at first you're thinking, okay, well that fits in pretty good with Qui-Gon. I'm thinking of it more as a defensive, because it's an after effect that you exhaust. So if your opponent forces you to re-roll something, as long as there's a shield side on there, they have to think twice. Because I'm like, wait a second, I could cause him to re-roll that die, but there's maybe I have Luke's lightsaber out there, and I roll a damage side with it, and you're like, no, re-roll that, because that's going to kill one of my characters. Okay, you make me re-roll that. If I get the shield side, now I get to turn the money that you need into a blank, or something like that. So so effectively could be an interrupt, especially if you're playing ambush and you think you're going to get to do 2 or 3 things in a row. Well, if you force me to re-roll something, it's kind of counter control. So that's not a bad ability. I think it's definitely got more potential than it just seems on the surface. So that's good. Now we come to the best part. I'm so excited about this. We've got Palpatine. So Palpatine, I didn't think they were going to do him this early. I mean, I always expected he would be something that came out for the game, but wow, this is awfully early to have Palpatine. And one of the things I was thinking about, like, how could they do really, really powerful characters? And my thought was maybe make a 1-character build. And sure enough, Palpatine has the option to be a 1-character deck. So he comes in at 21 or 28 points for the elite. So 21 Could take the place of Vader in a Vader Raider style deck. You could have Palpatine and just one other person, which a lot of people have begun to speculate that the Emperor's Royal Guard, if and when that comes out, will be at 9 points. Makes sense. I can totally see that happening. Or maybe even 8, but probably 9. It would fit very, very well with Palpatine. He's got 15 health, which makes him easily the tankiest character in the game. But he's also got a really good die. He's got a 2 ranged and 3 ranged. He's got 2 discard and 2 shields and a resource. So pretty good die, but his ability is what really makes him amazing. Basically, after you resolve one of his dice, your opponent has to assign 2 damage to their characters, divided any way they want. So it's a little shock, basically. He shocks you every time he resolves a die. So that's, you know, I don't have to tell you that that's awesome, but that's awesome. So if you run a 2 dice Palpatine, as long as you don't roll a blank, you're getting 4 damage on top of whatever damage you already roll. So pretty amazing. So let's talk about Palpatine now. So some people have begun to speculate. Well, 28 points. If I'm only running a 1 character deck, why wouldn't they just make the elite version 30 points? That's a great question. And I'd love to hear what you think about that. Do you think that we're going to see a 2-point character? I don't think we're going to see a 2-point character. Somebody speculated there might be upgrades that you can put on a character at the start of the game, like special cards that might cost 1, 2, or 3. And if it costs 3, then you can't put it on the Elite Palpatine, and that, you know, that would make sense. I think we might see something like that, but I think we might see potentially battlefields that have a character point cost. Like if you want to bring this battlefield as your battlefield, you have to, add into your character point cost for it. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. We can only speculate. I think maybe, some kind of skirmish type upgrade, some kind of, starting upgrade might be more likely. But I definitely don't think we're going to see a 2-point character anytime soon. So let me know what you think. Or do you think it's something else, like maybe they wanted to just balance him according to the possibility of a bigger game, like a 50-point game or something like that someday. I don't know. The game's too new for me to think about a 50-point game right now. I've played 3-player games, and they have taken a long time, so I can't imagine, really expanding on the game that much. But what can imagine it? I don't know if that's something I'd want to do just yet, because I really like a regular duel. But also with Palpatine, we see Force Lightning. Oh, Force Lightning is nasty. Every side, except for the 1 blank, is a damage-dealing side here. 2, 3, 4, and 2 specials. Now, the 3 and the 4 you have to pay for. But Force Lightning is sick nasty, man. First off, it's iconic. And just the idea of putting this on the Emperor sounds awesome. I think it would be a lot of fun. I don't know if, a single, Elite Palpatine is going to be the most tournament winning build, but I think it'd be so fun, and I'd want to play it anyway. But I would want to play it with Force Lightning, because he's just going to shock the hell out of you. So it costs 4, so it's not easy to put out, and then it costs some money to play. All right, I get that. It's an expensive card, but look at what this thing can do, this special, and it's got 2 specials, so you have a good chance of rolling the special. It's one of these specials that can reroll. You remove a die that's showing a blank. All right, so first off, it's 1 damage to a character, and if you remove a die showing a blank, you get to reroll this instead of just taking the die away. It can be any die. So you can reroll one of your dice that's showing blank, if you want. But, ideally, if your opponent has dice out and there's a blank, take a damage, I reroll. Oh, maybe I get another special, and then another day, I couldn't do those in a row because you can't do the same special for the same die in the same action, but, so a die that rerolls itself, I couldn't activate again. But during the same action, but oh my gosh, like, you just keep going with that. Like, if somebody passes early and you're like, all right, well, let's do Force Lightning, boom, and just hit all of their extra dice, because their dice that are in play stay in play once they claim the battlefield or once they're done. So amazing. And then you can also cannibalize your own dice, especially if you got no more cards left in hand, or you don't want to discard the cards in your hand, and you have got a couple of blanks that you can't resolve. Just feed them into that Force Lightning and just keep shocking. But here's the thing with Force Lightning: you're gonna need to keep some money out, because if you get to re-roll that thing and you end up with a 4 die, a 4 damage that costs money, you're gonna wanna spend that. So yeah, I'm really excited about Force Lightning. I think out of all of this, I think Krennic is probably going to be the most powerful. But I also really want to see what Chirrut Imwe's final ability is. But I think Palpatine will be the most fun. I like stuff that isn't necessarily super competitive, but it's more fun, and I think Elite Palpatine is going to be just the craziest thing ever. So what are you most excited about? Are you happy to see this expansion announced today? It came earlier than I thought, but let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to get more updates, and I would love to hear from you, and I appreciate all the thumbs up and likes for the videos as well. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.